sure we can do all we just got to, yeah.
It's Thursday the 25th of May and 11 o'clock this morning. Everybody paused for a moment's silence to just to pay respects to the people who lost their lives in Manchester at the weekend, and I joined them in that 1 minute of silence, and my thoughts are with the families of all those that were killed and hurt, and that's enough said. So back to the homesteading vlogs today. I've got my very glamorous hat on. It is actually the only sun hat I have. I bought it for a friend's wedding years ago, and I looked after it very carefully, and then when we moved here it went into the barn, and bless them, one of the chickens has christened it, so I now have a poop hat. And it's really bright, so I've got sunglasses on, so I'm apologising that you can't see half my face, but it's blistering hot today, and it seems better to protect myself from the sun than to risk getting sunburn. The ducks have been enjoying the heat. Well, sort of. When it gets really hot, they go into their enclosure and lie under the trees in the shade, but they've been enjoying dibbling around in the pond and splashing about and cooling down in there. The chickens, on the other hand, seem to be having a tougher time of it. Now, I know they're white chickens, so in some ways they'll reflect the heat, but I think it also leaves their skin a bit more vulnerable. So we've got lots of shady places for them. They can always be inside, although even inside their open fronted enclosure here, it's really hot. I'm surprised how warm it is in here. Oh, it's Big White on guard duty. It is really warm in here, given that it's shaded for most of the day. You haven't really had a proper homestead update from me for a couple of days because the last two vlogs have been about different subjects, but we haven't stopped homesteading during that time. So behind me we have been constructing the next part of a run for the Jersey Giants. So that's where they sleep, in a house in there, and that's what we call the Chicken Palace. Then there's a covered run coming out, and we've now extended it along, and that will be a corner, and then it will come towards me to the dividing fence that divides the field. And I've sectioned a piece off like that because I have absolutely no doubt that come autumn or early winter we will have to get the birds inside again. So what I'm hoping is that we will have this completed and it will be covered with netting by the time late September comes, and then we can be sure that the ground would have been covered for long enough for the birds to be allowed out in that space during what we call the lockdown. The 5-week-old chicks are doing fine. They're very happy with their space, as are the 10 that are in this house. Maybe it's 9 in this house, I can't remember. They've all got plenty of shade. They have an area underneath the house, but also on top of their run I've put a board up there just to give them some extra shade, because it does get really, really sunny in this part of the field. There's no trees to give them any break from the sun at all, so better to cover them up too. In the annual vegetable garden, everything's moving along nicely. The weeds are growing in a spectacular fashion. However, I have got some beans into the beds here. Now these are runner beans. It's a variety called White Lady, and they have white flowers and white beans. They're green podded beans, but the actual bean, the seed, is white, and I love the flavour of these. I really do love them. So there are 46 plants in here. So some canes have got 3 plants, some canes have got 2. Usually it's suggested that you thin out the weaker plant and just leave one growing up a cane. I'm really happy to have 2 or 3. I will be feeding the soil with liquid feed, organic liquid feed made from nettles and comfrey, so I'm fairly sure that they'll get enough nutrition to do really well. Now the globe artichokes, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am about these, and last time I showed them to you I squeaked, and I'm not going to squeak today, but I'm fairly close to squeaking. So here we go. Look at this. Look at it. It's enormous. There's my hand. It is bigger than my hand. It's huge. And there are more all round it, and then there's some deep down, just they're starting there, and it's just there's loads of them. But that's not the only plant. There's, beyond the thistles, there are more flower heads there, and on this plant down here. These are truly exciting, really exciting. I can't wait to try them. But what I don't know what to do is, I don't know when to harvest them, I don't know how to harvest them, and actually I don't know how to cook them either. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research tonight, because I have a feeling the really big one is ready to be harvested, and it's so exciting. The runner beans that are my first sown ones are chock-a-block, absolutely packed with flowers, and all of those flowers are going to turn into beans, which is amazing. I'm just so pleased. So it looks like we're going to have a really good crop here. They look a bit wilty now because it's it's not that long after midday, and it's pretty hot out here. But they will get a water tonight. There's no point in watering in this heat because that will just make it worse. So they'll get a long drink tonight, and then that should be fine. So I've still got that weedy bed to sort out, and I've got that weedy bed to sort out, and I've got that weedy bed to sort out. There's a lot of weeds. But in amongst the weeds are some volunteer self-sown beautiful marigolds. They're just, I love marigolds. The intensity of the colour is just, it just takes my breath away. So those won't be coming out. I'm going to leave them there to grow. Now my lovely French beans, well, they're a bit of a disaster. Well, they're not, but the slugs are. So this whole bed should be beans, and mostly I've got sticks. The slugs are just decimating everything, and so I need to go and get a whole load more of the chopped rapeseed straw. I'll give this lot a really good water tonight, and then cover the bed in rapeseed straw and hope that that will stop the slugs. I really don't know what else to do. I've put down slug traps, beer traps, but they're just more interested in the beans, and I don't know that they'll recover from quite so much devastation. I mean, the tops have just been chewed off completely here. Such a shame. And of course, if all the beans get eaten by the slugs, then we're not going to have a crop, and that will have an impact on how much food we have over winter. The last of the weedy beds in the annual vegetable garden is about halfway through being weeded now. This soil is, in this heat, has become like concrete again, so it's really heavy going, and actually it's just dull to do. So I'm doing a little bit at a time, come out to do a little bit, take a barrow load of weeds away, and then have a pause and come back and do a bit more. But I'm getting there, and I'll be leaving in the hollyhocks. There's actually five quite big hollyhock plants along here, which I don't want in here, but it's too hot to move them right now, and as soon as the weather cools down a bit or it's raining again, I might have to come out here like a mad woman in the rain and lift the hollyhocks and get them elsewhere in the garden. Inside the house, it's looking like the wine is ready to have its next stage done to it. It's just the most beautiful colour, and I've checked it with a hydrometer or something, like a thermometer thingy that you put in it. Cool, this is technical. And it tells you how much alcohol content there is, and it's at 12.5%, so that's really, I think, where we should stop, because that makes it a pretty good table wine. And so now I have to find out what the next stage is and do that. Well, I haven't reminded you for a few days, so it must be time. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, leave a comment below, share it on social media, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do so, because it tells me that you're really enjoying my vlogs, and it will also let you know each time I upload a new video.